Hi everyone. So we're in some episode again now. We don't know which one. We lost count. We are talking about how women should manage their money, or like
Yeah.
where to spend their money, where to invest it, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
girl math.
Yeah.
Is that the right term?
Well, I don't know. I feel like girl math has gotten this bad connotation around.
No.
Like, I don't know. It's made to sound so infantile and stupid that, oh, this is girl math. Like, no one takes girl math seriously.
But I thought we reclaimed it.
I hope we did.
Yeah.
How did we reclaim it?
We reclaimed it by like girl math is actually 10 steps ahead of men math or whatever the opposite is.
Yeah. I mean, can you give some examples of girl math actually? Like, what is girl math?
Girl math is figuring out whether you should be, I don't know, like I can't think now.
When should you wash your hair? Like if I wash my hair today, I have to go for a workout class in the evening. So is today the right day to wash my hair? But then day after tomorrow, I have to go for a baby shower and I need my hair to look perfect, and my hair usually looks perfect the second day after I wash it. So should I wash it tomorrow after the workout or before I work out? I think that's what girl math is traditionally thought of as being.
Yeah.
But I think like
We're taking a different take on girl math. We're
Yeah.
talking about how women are financially and fiscally more responsible.
I think we should talk about how do we invest our money, because you and I have both actually done a really good job of putting our money in the stock market. We've made a bunch of money, guys, which is like go us. We should talk about what stocks have done well for us, and we should talk about what else you can invest in. Because
Yeah.
actually, girls are just, or women are just fundamentally better at math and finances, guys. Seriously, like, I don't know why we have this impression of women being bad with money. I think we just from a very, very young age learn to be very on top of how to manage money. Like there's so many different considerations we take into account when we buy something, right? If you buy something for your boyfriend or for your husband, we're always thinking about how many outfits will this go for with, right? Like if you buy him a pair of shoes, like, okay, this can go with his like going out outfit, or this can go with his office outfit, etc., etc.
And like even like household expenses, right? Like
Yeah.
figuring out, okay, like, you know, this is how we should be planning like our dinners, and this is how it should be like our breakfast, whatever, right? Like all of those things have to, you know, if you have any domestic help, figuring that out.
Yeah, like keeping in mind like how much you need to pay. I mean, we're talking a lot more about like housewives, but I think those are also really good examples, right? Like keeping a tab on how much you need to pay everybody you employ.
Yeah.
Right? Like basic, very important math that like women just like naturally know how to do from a in like also very like culturally conservative societies.
Yeah. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of hate in the comments from like triggered men, like, but you know.
But men are good at math too.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's doubting that. Everyone's good at math.
Yeah.
Why do people get so scared of math?
I don't know.
I don't know why it has like so much. There's so much like emotion around math. Like, oh, can you do math? Oh, you can't do math. Oh, can you do mental math? Yes, I can do mental math. No, you can't do.
No, and also just like female oriented like professions or skills, they kind of just like look down upon like other people as like, oh, this is like less like requires less intelligence, so it's less like competent. Like, you know, if you're I don't know, if you're like a teacher or a nurse or whatever, like apparently that is, you know, less kind of
Financially savvy or
Yeah.
whatever than like being an investment banker.
Yeah.
I have been an investment banker in my past life, and I will say that I think even though I was in investment banking, even though I spent so many years in finance, I studied math at Yale, like that was my major. And despite that, I still
Why
felt
was it your major though?
because I have deep-rooted approval issues and
You want to talk about that?
totally different
You
topic.
should talk about that.
Episode. I have very deep-seated approval issues because, you know,
Especially from older like male figures.
yeah, it's a problem. You know, my dad wanted me to study math, so I studied math. But anyways, even though I was an investment banker for the longest amount of time, I still felt like when it came to like investing my money and like personal finances, right? Investing my own money, you know, Chetan, my husband, and I like figuring out what to do with, you know, how do we grow this? I would always just kind of take a step back. I would always just be like, oh yeah, you figure it out. Like, oh, we'll talk to we'll talk to my dad. Oh, what do you think? You know, it was very weird, and I definitely noticed myself kind of like shrinking away from it. Yeah, so anyways, I felt like I was, you know, pulling away from talking about our own finances, and I feel like most men I know are just so extra vocal about this, right? Like literally I will meet some of my male friends, and within the first like 10 minutes of catching up after like years, they'll be like, oh, by the way, did you buy like HDFC stock and like Reliance stock? Oh man, I made so much money.
And they don't make eye contact with you when you're like everyone's talking. I'm like, dude, even I can talk about these things.
Yeah, they just look at the other men in the group. Oh, did you buy like Reliance stock and all? And I'm just like, you know, babe, this is not very complicated what you're talking about. I know you think this is rocket science, but it's not. And so I think we should do some of that demystifying, because like you have definitely made a lot of strides in investing in the Indian stock market, right? You want to talk about it? Like what stocks have done well for you? How did you kind of go about it?
Yeah, I think recently, now that the Indian stock market has been doing amazingly well.
Today the market is up 4%.
Yeah.
Yes, because the interest rates
Fell.
have been cut in the US.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like kind of, I think you just have to be kind of like aware that, okay, this is something that you want to do. Like I've always been, like I'm not shy about like, I want to earn money and like grow it and, you know, become a
Rich woman.
Rich
Rich
woman.
bitch.
Yeah.
Rich badass.
Let's never call that again.
You wanted to name this series Big Booty Bitches, if I recall.
Which I think is on brand.
Yeah, it is.
But
But then we didn't name it that, so it's fine.
we should have named it that. Anyway, so what was I talking about?
Stock market.
Yes, so I think you just need to be like self-aware and kind of acknowledge something that you want to learn, right? Like, so you have to have that kind of humility and like, you know, ask others for help and have that kind of, you know,
But like, what did you do? Like, what have you put
yeah,
your
so I
mind
asked
to?
my dad, like literally teach me, because like everyday power, you're like, yeah, I made like 50% whatever ROI on this stock.
By the way, guys, like let's talk about this. The Indian stock market is killing it. Like people have been making 40 to 50% annualized returns year on year in the Indian stock market, which is unheard of. The average return you can make in the stock market in the US is somewhere around like maybe 8 to 12%, S&P 500, like historically.
Yeah.
What is happening in India? If you're not taking advantage of this, like
Yeah.
please start like right now.
Yeah. So then I got my shit together and then got my dad to teach me. And he was also honestly very like enthusiastic about teaching me, and you as well, right?
But Papa is very enthusiastic about like
Yeah.
everything related to finance.
Yeah. So the stocks that did really well for me. So I only look at like NSC. I don't look at like BSC or any of that. So the stocks that did really well for me, I would say, are Indigo.
Indigo Airlines.
Yeah, Indigo Airlines. I think it's called like Interglobe Aviation Services or something on the actual like market. What has done really well for me? There was also Data Patterns. It's like this very random like IT services company or something that my dad told me about. So our dad told us about, and that did really well. And then one which I figured out on my own is this is UTI Asset Management.
UTI.
Yeah, UTI Asset Management and Karur Vysya Bank.
Karur Vysya
Bank.
So how did you find these stocks? Because they're kind of random. Like I would have never heard of.
Yeah, there are some very random ones. You kind of have to like figure out like understand like the technical side of it, then like read up on the company, and then figure out, okay, is this the right point for me to invest? Like there's like a pivot and all of these like technical things.
I think the good thing that you definitely did that I saw is that you started talking to people about stocks. So I think as a woman who has a certain amount of money to invest, even I think there's also this like misconception that if you have if I only have like 10,000 rupees in my account, I don't want to invest it or whatever. You can invest like a really tiny amount of money and still watch it grow. Like that's fine, because that's the beauty of stocks. You can take even a small amount of money, you can buy some, obviously you're not going to buy very expensive stocks, but you can buy like relatively cheaper stocks. And if you are able to kind of like grow it, even if it grows at say 20%, that basically means that, you know, you're putting in 100 rupees and in whatever 6 months it's 120 rupees.
Yeah.
So the longer, I mean, the more that you put in, obviously the better, but you can start however small you want. And I think you just were talking to people about it, right?
I was talking to people about it, making my own mistakes, figuring it out. And then you kind of just figure out your own like algorithm and intuition just plays into it and you figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
you made a shit ton of money.
And I made a shit ton of money. Yes.
Talk to, I think like for women, like it seems very, for a lot of people, I know it seems very, what's the word, like inaccessible. I think like talking to people who are in finance and asking them, what are you guys investing in? I think we should normalize having conversations about investing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, oh, what are you investing in? Like, what stocks are doing well for you? And then once they suggest some names, like you go do some work on your own, like Google it, try to understand what they do. And if you generally think it's a good business to invest in, okay, fine, like this is a construction company, I'm seeing a lot of construction happening around me, like fundamentally this makes this like industry, this company is going to grow.
Yeah.
Let me put my money in it.
Right. And I think it's also really fun to like brands that you support and like startups which are now unicorns like Zomato and things like that, right? Like it's really interesting to kind of invest your money. By the way, Zomato is another really excellent stock. You should go buy that. It just makes you feel like more kind of what's like invested or more kind of involved in the, I don't know, larger like ecosystem.
And you're making money, man. Like if India is growing so rapidly.
If I'm paying money for Zomato every week, I should also put in money there and see it grow.
Here.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're using
I think
Zomato.
that was here was said like maybe 17th century.
But I'm just saying that's such a good point, no? Because if you're buying clothes from, I don't know, like what's a publicly listed like clothing company?
Aditya Birla Fashion.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
something like that, right? Like you're buying clothes from here, you're ordering food on Zomato. Why should you not have a share in their profits? And the way you do that is by buying their stock.
I think the main concern, I think this is more of like not even a female mentality, but like Indian mentality is that, you know, don't put all your money in the stock market, like keep it in your, you know, let it stay dormant and just get into FDs or something like that, like fixed deposits. But it's, I mean, you have to like put yourself out there, and yes, you don't just like leave your money, like obviously log in and see how it's growing every few weeks or every few months based on like how busy your job is, or do it daily. But I think it's like an excellent way for, you know, letting your money do the work for you rather you working for your money.
Yeah,
And,
big time.
And I think the other thing which Papa really told us was like when he told us about the Rich Dad Poor Dad book.
Yeah. I think everyone should read this book, by the way. It's
Yeah.
called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Some people make fun of this guy for
Yeah,
whatever reason. Like
He got into some scams and all, but like whatever, his principles are sound.
yeah, very, very sound advice on how you should make your money work for you. Don't just like leave it sitting around earning a very low return. Like, why should you not be making money on your money when, like, I mean, the richest people in the world are investing their money in the stock market as well and getting that return? Why should you just be sitting on it?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, so that's the stock market. By the way, you should also check out mutual funds if you're still kind of, you know, new to the whole investing thing. Mutual funds is a good, like, low risk, pretty high return, like 15% return or so.
Do you want to explain what mutual funds are?
You should.
Okay. Basically, mutual funds or like ETFs are like similar family of things where, you know, people are managing that portfolio of stocks for you. So they are buying like a bunch of, like a basket of stocks and you're just investing in that basket of stocks that somebody else has created. And that's like a low risk, kind of low effort way to get involved with the stock market, because like that's already a basket that's chosen for you. And you know, you can sell it anytime you think it's going down. You can buy it if you think if it's doing well. Yeah, but you know what you said, this whole point about like, oh, if you're not too busy, you should check your you should log into your portfolio and check it. I think this is like the biggest problem that capitalism, right, has brought upon us. I think people think that they're too busy. No, like your jobs make you feel like you're too busy to invest your money, which is literally the stupidest thing ever.
That's like what the gatekeepers of capitalism, like the top, like the 0.00001%, and the government wants you to think that if you are working your ass off in a job and getting like, getting your income tax and all of that being, deducted, like that's just like a normal way for you to like earn money and the most stable way for you to earn money.
And I think this is a very big, sorry to interrupt you, like a huge problem with, just like I think Indian mentality, right? Around, oh, just get a stable job and like job se achhi salary milegi. And
just
like,
work hard.
Salary, whatever, like it'll be stable for you. But the problem is that your salary is getting taxed at the highest rate by the government. And instead, if you invested that money, you can actually take advantage of lower tax rates on like your stocks gaining value, or even I think even on dividends probably.
Yeah.
Right? So you should definitely make the time to invest. Definitely take time away from your job to make sure that you're checking your portfolio regularly.
If you're not like investing in the stock market or in mutual funds, you're actively trying to be poor. That's how you should think about it. Like you're very aggressively pro being poor. Which is, I mean, you can have that stand if you're like a communist or something. I don't know, but like if you want to live like a life of whatever,
not
like,
being as rich as you can, then you won't spend time on this.
And
Think about it that way.
I think a lot of it also like again links to like women thinking that having any kind of like ambition, like financial ambition or wanting money is like bad. Like no, everybody wants money. What does money mean? Like what does wealth mean? It means you having that time to like spend, like having that luxury of time to spend with the people you love, do whatever you want and not be worried of like your day-to-day kind of like expenses. That's what it is. It buys you that time.
Yeah, it buys you freedom, it buys you time. I think this whole like middle class mentality of like nahi paise se kuch nahi hota, nahi are stable job kar lo, and rich people also have problems. This is bullshit, guys. Like okay, rich people have problems, but money isn't one of them. And you should be doing everything you can to grow your wealth and to be rich. Like I don't know why people
fight the system.
I don't know why people demonize being rich. Like this is the game being played, you got to play that game.
Okay, so that's the stock market, mutual funds.
Yes. But let's take a quick like interim situation. I do want to talk about like what do you spend your money on? Like the money that you're not investing in the market, like what do you buy with it? What is your guilty pleasure with money? Like what are you not like, what would you not be sad to buy? What would you not be sad to like part your money with for?
Definitely travel. Like travel.
You look like you didn't understand the question.
I was like,
you're just like, huh? I don't ever want
rather to very intrusive question. What about you?
I think
you love luxury goods, don't you?
I hate
LV. What is it? LVMH.
That's the company.
LDH?
The brand is Louis Vuitton. I'm aggressively anti-luxury because I used to work at McKinsey, which is a consulting firm, and oh shit, I shouldn't be, I don't know. But I've worked with a whole bunch of luxury companies. I've looked at their P&Ls. I know where they source their stuff from. It is not, don't believe that narrative of, oh yeah, we are, this is customized, made for you. Oh my God, we put so much effort into it. That's why it's so high price, because it's so high quality. Like, no. They're buying their stuff from the same Chinese, whatever, warehouses, factories that every other cheap brand is buying their stuff from. They're just marking it up like crazy because guess what? It has the word Chanel on it. So I'm very heavily anti-luxury. And honestly, when I see people roaming around with like Louis Vuitton bags or whatever, Dior sunglasses, whatever have you, I actually judge them big time because I'm like, how stupid, you could have invested that money in the stock market and it would have been killing it right now. Instead, you chose to buy this stupid piece of shit.
Okay. That's rather aggressive. And I love how like celebrities also, like, you know, the ones who are trying to like wear designer bags or whatever, even the celebrities aren't buying those bags or
Yeah.
buying those
Yeah.
luxury outfits.
Oh my God,
Literally,
it's
they are renting it from whatever, like, who are these people?
They're not renting it. I mean, these brands are giving it.
No, they are renting it, no?
Well, maybe they're renting it, but most of these brands just give it to them for free to wear it because it's really good publicity
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Because all of us regular people are so stupid that when we see Deepika Padukone holding a Chanel bag or whatever have you, or wearing some really nice heels or wearing Gucci sunglasses, we're like, oh, अगर दीपिका के पास है तो फिर मुझे भी Gucci sunglasses चाहिए. And
But
then
they're not paying for it. She's not paying for it.
she ain't paying for shit. And she's also very rich and she can afford it. If she wanted to buy it, go girl. But like, you know, the rest of us, normal-ish people, I mean, I would say you and I are still also very privileged and we could buy it if we wanted to. But like, what a waste of money.
Yeah, and I think another really interesting book to read is Psychology of Money, which I think every like woman should read for sure, because it talks about how there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Yeah.
He talks about like how being rich is basically just like looking rich. Like, okay, so if I have like a Porsche or whatever, like luxury car, and I'm like secretly behind the scenes like paying this crazy like car loan, EMI type of thing, I'm not actually rich. Like I'm portraying to be rich, whereas wealthy is actually having that time and that luxury to spend, you know, whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, right?
That's the whole like new trend, no?
Like if it's invisible,
Yeah.
like basically wealth is invisible. Rich is what you're
Visible.
trying to like show.
Yeah. It's like that, what do you call it? Like a quiet luxury, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
there that like look now where
Yeah.
you don't want to look like openly rich, like, you know,
The
all
Silicon Valley,
like bling, bling, bling. You don't want that.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of being gifted interesting things, should we talk about how apparently in the recent Ambani wedding, a whole bunch of people got gifted like really expensive watches?
Yeah, what was that? Rolex? They were like custom Rolex watches.
Some other really expensive luxury
Yeah.
watch for everybody in the groom's party, something like this.
Dude, like, we should have been best friends with them in school. Like, we went to Dhirubhai Ambani International
You think they don't
School.
get that all the time? Like, I'm sure everybody is
Yeah, like, yeah.
lining up to
We
like
get like free luxury watches.
Yeah.
But yeah,
good
that
use of
wedding
their
was-
money, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no like poverty in our country anymore. Magically disappeared. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, anyways, okay, so we talked about stock market. Now, what is the second one? Yeah, the second one is
Real estate.
real estate.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Okay. I mean, I think real estate in India is an awesome thing for women to get involved in. We love houses. I mean, I feel like most women just love looking at people's
We love
houses.
house.
No, like I love going to people's houses. I like to see what they've done with their place.
Yeah.
And I think you do too. And I think like, I feel like again, this is something that comes naturally to women because we're just like, oh my God, I want the space to look like this and
Yeah.
like whatever. So, real estate in India is doing so well. I think some really, I don't know what the exact number is, but it's a great way to invest your money in a relatively safe way. Like real estate is much safer, less volatile than the stock market. But of course, with real estate, you're not going to be able to afford something outright, right? Like if you're buying your first house, right, then you will most likely need to get a mortgage, you know, which is a loan that the bank gives you to like pay for your house. And a lot of people are against taking loans from the bank, you know, like especially in India, there's this like a little bit of this mentality of nahi loan nahi lenge, to wo interest bharna padega.
I don't think that's a thing.
I think there is.
Okay.
I think there's some problem. some
problem with that.
Some hesitation, and like actually that's the wrong way to look at it because taking a mortgage actually is a great leverage. You know, like if you just have whatever, if you want to buy a house that's worth 1 crore and you have like 30 lakhs in the bank, right? How are you going to buy that house? The way to buy it is you put say 20% of that 1 crore down, you give them 20 lakhs and the remaining 80% comes from your mortgage. You're able to borrow it, you can buy the house, you can start living in the house, and of course the interest that you're paying to the bank is over a longer period of time. But what that lets you do is that remaining 10 lakhs that you have, right, like out of the 30 lakhs that you had, you can invest it in the stock market, or you can grow it in other ways. You don't have to put that also towards the house because you've taken the loan. So the bank is handling that, you know. So I think the principle here is that as much cash as you can invest in the stock market, or like, you know, use right now, instead of like putting like a big chunk of it towards like one asset, the better it is.
Yeah. And like the Psychology of Money book again talks about that, right? Like the compounding effects of money, especially in like investment vehicles like the stock market.
Yeah.
And real
So you
estate.
buy your first house.
So Warren Buffett, actually, he started when he was like whatever, like 21, right? He started, or like I think he was a teenager or something. The main way he's like one of the richest men is because he just started really early. So that, you know, as the years went by, like it's just a compounding kind of formula, like, you know,
Yeah,
you just keep exponentially keep increasing your money.
Yeah.
So most of his wealth was actually created after he turned like 60 or something. Yeah, so just start early, like as soon as you're born, just start investing.
It's a little aggressive. Financial education for babies.
So start teaching Rahana.
She's gonna be like,
She's like, Masi is super aggressive for no reason.
But yeah, I mean, you buy your first house. So just closing the topic on real estate. So you're living in your house. It's your own house. It's your own asset. It's that house is also going to appreciate in value over time while you're living there. While you're living there, you're not having to pay rent to someone else. Here,
rent is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity.
Here you're paying your interest to the bank on the mortgage, but as you're paying more interest, this house is yours. You know, like you're not paying rent to some random other party and still not owning your own house, you know. So it really works. And then you should think about just investing in other houses, you know, like what if you have some extra cash and, you know, you can take another mortgage, you know, like you can actually buy more houses and you can rent those houses out. And sometimes the rent, I mean, this is a little harder, but like some of that rent is going to cover the mortgage payment that you took to buy this other house. And again, you have more assets that you own that are also appreciating in value. So yeah, just look at 99 acres, Magic Bricks. I think those are the equivalents.
And if you're in US,
Zillow is a good one. So you just look at any properties that are like up for sale in your, start with your neighborhood, you know, like because you understand your neighborhood the best, and just start going to houses, open house, ki acha ye, you know, like let's go see this house is up for on the market, how is it? And you know, you'll start to dip your toe, you'll start to get more familiar with, okay, this is a good deal, this is not a good deal. You know, 3 bedrooms selling for this much money versus 2 bedrooms selling for that much money, this is the better deal. And you can also look for construction projects, right? You want to talk about that?
construction projects.
Like basically new construction that's coming up in Bombay, for example, or like so many other parts of India. You can buy a house in one of these projects before it's constructed, and then it's even cheaper because they don't require you to pay everything upfront. They tie your payments to like stages of completion. So it's over time and you're still owning it, and it's like much cheaper.
Yeah. Cool. And then the third one is having your own company or having your own business, right? I mean, again, it's not meant for everyone. Like, you know, it does come with some like privilege and risk. But again, in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, he talks about how, you know, owning your own business makes a lot of sense because the income that you get from the business, right? Like most of your expenses, you can just get off pre-tax. So that's a huge way for you to save money, right? And not give it to the government. Like what happens with a regular like salary, right? Like the government takes its, you know, big ass share in the form of taxes. Before it even comes to you. Like I almost feel like, I don't know, I have very strong opinions on this. Like it almost feels like they're stealing your money.
Yeah.
They're stealing your money. Especially in Mumbai, they're stealing your money.
Don't pay taxes, you guys.
Yeah, don't pay. Yeah, like the kind of roads that we have, the kind of pollution that we have, I feel like taxes are just, I don't know, a scam. Okay, at this point, and it's a scam. like government
Organizations.
Yeah, everything. So
Because the rich people are not paying taxes,
yeah,
trust me.
they
Like,
have the best lawyers in the world to avoid
All
all
kinds of
the
taxes.
taxes in the world.
people keep talking about how, oh my god, rich people pay such little tax. Let's change the tax laws so that they will pay more tax. No matter how you change the tax laws, the rich people are never going to pay taxes.
Jeff Bezos doesn't pay anything, right?
Because most of their income does not come from a salary. Their income mostly comes from investments, and investment income is just always taxed lesser than salary income, unfortunately.
So yes, so if you can and want to, like invest, like starting your own business, starting your own like startup is also a good idea for you to kind of save more money before the government gobbles it up.
Yeah. And I think we can wrap our episode with that. I think the message here is that ladies. Oh, you have another message.
Yes, I have another message. Controversial.
Why did you raise your hand like you were in school?
Oh yeah. Controversial opinion, or like actually makes sense opinion. Jewelry is not the best investment vehicle out there. So I think everyone like who's like, oh, let me like buy more gold jewelry and all that stuff. Yes, it does appreciate in value. Barely.
Very slowly.
You should be spending more money on the stock market, etc., real estate, all of those things. And yes, they make you look pretty and things like that, but not.
I feel so bad. Like I feel like I know so many ladies who, like through so many parts of my life, who have had such great education and who are like so privileged, and I just see them kind of like not really doing anything with their time. Like they just go for like brunches or whatever. I don't really know what they do with their time, but like, you know, I think it's high time that women sort of like reclaim. Very bleak note, but no, good note also. If you liked this topic, do let us know in the comments. Maybe we can go deeper into some of these things that we talked about. But otherwise, like, share and subscribe, and do join us for our next episode.
Bye.